Hello and welcome back to the Football Snapshot. I'm Lewis Nolan and Liverpool are playing Galatasaray on Wednesday in the Champions League in what could be Arne Slot's last chance to save his job because Liverpool lost 1-0 in the first leg against them and the performance was not great. But the fact that Liverpool are fifth in the Premier League and potentially at risk of missing out on top five, if Arne Slot was to go out of the Champions League on Wednesday, if Liverpool failed to get the better of Galatasaray at Anfield, then what is there left for Slot to cling on to and say that he should be in the job until the end of the season? Because you've obviously got the FA Cup. Liverpool play Man City in the FA Cup in the quarter-final away from home at the Etihad. Do you expect Liverpool to get the better of them? I don't. So, in terms of things that people could point to and say that Slot should stay on, the things are looking quite slim. And in the event that Liverpool did go out to Galatasaray, probably the only thing that would prevent him from being sacked mid-season would probably be the fact that they don't want to go down the interim route. They don't want to appoint someone like Steven Gerrard. And look, Steven Gerrard is not a good manager. We've seen his stints at Rangers and Aston Villa. He spent loads at Rangers to win the Scottish Premiership when he was there. At Aston Villa, we obviously saw what happened when Unai Emery came in. And look, Steven Gerrard probably would give a boost to the squad, but I guess FSG probably wouldn't want to have to deal with the fan sentiment, say, if an interim spell did go well, but that probably is the only thing that's keeping Arne Slot in the job until the end of the season, even if Liverpool do go out against Galatasaray. But having said that, I do I logically expect Liverpool to get through. I expect Liverpool to be able to score more than one goal against them because they're not very good defensively. We saw that in the first leg that in the few instances where we were able to get past their press and in the few instances where we did actually press aggressively ourselves, we actually managed to create chances. Wirtz fluffed his lines a couple of times, especially when he was given the ball and the goalkeeper was off his line. That shot, I described it as timid. I stand by that. And you when he's in and around those areas of the pitch, a bit less. It feels like he's playing within himself when he's shooting, and a bit less of that would be very helpful for the squad to progress into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. But yeah, if Liverpool, that's the main thing, I guess. Can Liverpool deal with whatever type of pressure that Galatasaray throw away? Because although the Galatasaray manager said in the build-up to the first leg, he said that he wanted to press Liverpool's goalkeeper, he wanted to play really aggressively, and you can do that at home. Whether they can do that at Anfield, I'm not sure. But I suspect that they will have spells where they do press really high, even though they're probably more likely to sit in a deeper block for the majority of the game. Especially because when you have someone like Victor Osimhen, who was the best striker on the pitch compared to Ekitike. When you have someone like Victor Osimhen who can drag the team up the field, you just lump a long ball into him, he'll control it, he'll run the channels, he'll battle Kanate, he'll battle Van Dijk. It could be a difficult day for the centre backs, and it could be a difficult day for when, if McAllister has to track a midfielder across the pitch because our shape isn't compact. What happens when someone runs off the back of him? What happens when Gravenberch is drawn to the ball but doesn't mark his runner? What happens when the fullbacks are out of position? There's a lot of questions to be asked, and it's it's going to be really interesting because, like I said, the two main things that Liverpool have to deal with, they have to deal with when Galatasaray apply intense pressure, but then also can Liverpool apply intense pressure themselves? Because when they tried to do that in the opening stages of the first leg, it worked really well. Liverpool created a few openings. Wirtz in particular should have done better, like I said, but there were chances for Liverpool to at least, even if it didn't translate into a chance, or opportunities for Liverpool to at least produce a threatening moment, which they didn't do enough in the first leg. But that's something that we've seen all season. Liverpool don't create enough threatening moments. And after Anfield booed Liverpool when they drew 1-1 with Spurs on Sunday, the crowd is turning against Arne Slot and the crowd is turning into the team. But whether that changes if, say, Liverpool starts slowly, Liverpool concede early goals and Liverpool concede late goals. But it'll be very interesting to see the crowd reaction. Say, for example, if it's a boring game because Anfield and European nights, even though Liverpool don't have the best record when it comes to knockout games at Anfield, it's never really boring. But if Slot manages to make it boring, if Liverpool are really cagey, if Liverpool don't take risks, say in the opening half an hour, the first half, Anfield will get agitated. Anfield will get very nervous. But I think they'll translate to the players as well. And that's not me saying the fans have to, do anything special or that the fans should have to bear the responsibility for lifting the team up. But it will have an impact because the players themselves, they're, like I said, with Wirtz. he's not the only one, but they're all playing within themselves. And part of the reason is because I suspect that they're struggling to come to terms with what the manager is asking them because he's asking them to play very safe. He's asking them to play a style of football that doesn't suit their strengths, and he's not getting the best out of any player on the pitch. Because, look, we saw against Tottenham, we had pacey wingers. Did we create anything? No. Engamo played well, but he didn't create much. And again, that's not criticism of the 17-year-old child. I'm just saying that there was still no end product. There was still no end product. There wasn't enough threat, even though that Liverpool changed their winger profiles. But we know that Arne Slot said that Engamo wasn't going to play, or he wasn't going to start more than one game in this next period of fixtures, so that we know Engamo is going to be on the bench more than in all likelihood against Galatasaray. And we might need his legs. We might need his legs in the second half, but we know I can tell you now that the front line that Liverpool are going to play is going to be Cody Gakpo on the left, Mohamed Salah on the right, Ekitike up front, and Roberts number 10. And then it'll be a really interesting question. It'll be a really interesting choice to see whether Arne Slot has the courage to play Curtis Jones in midfield, whether he has the courage to drop one of McAllister or Gravenberch. And personally, I'd drop both. I would play Dominic Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones double pivot, but I don't think that he has the courage to do that. I'd play Jeremy Frimpong at right back, and I wouldn't play Szoboszlai there, even though I know his deeper passing can be really influential. But you can get the deeper passing in midfield if you play him in the double pivot. So I want to see that as a team. I want to see how that looks. And then there's maybe a tiny, tiny argument about Robertson or Kirkers, but it should be Kirkers. Kirkers is a better player than Robertson now, and I know that he performed well against Wolves, but you know, I don't want to say once in a blue moon, but when Robertson's rested for a couple of weeks, then maybe he plays well. So I wouldn't advise playing him again. So yeah, as long as Alisson's fit, he should start. I know Gomez started at centre back against Spurs, but Canate has to come into the team, especially if you want to deal with Victor Osimhen, because I do not want to watch Joe Gomez having to deal with those long balls or those channel runs. So Canate has to play. But I'm I don't know if I'm predicting more of the same, but I'm expecting more of the same because I said that I think that Liverpool should still be able to score more than one goal against Galatasaray. But I don't think that despite Liverpool's talent, I don't think that despite, Salah was only came on with half an hour to go against Spurs, that the fact that Ekitike came on with half an hour to go against Spurs, I don't think that's going to make much of a material difference in terms of how intense we play because Liverpool have no intensity this season. So yeah, maybe another slugfest, but Liverpool should still have enough to get through Galatasaray. They're not very good. I saw someone describe them as being sort of, when Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp would draw Porto or one of the Portuguese teams, where they might trouble another team, they might trouble a team that wasn't very good, but you know that Liverpool were winning 5-0 in one of the legs and maybe drawing at Anfield or just, easily seeing past them. I'm going to predict a Liverpool 3-1 win. And I know that predicting Liverpool to score more than one goal is very dangerous because that just does not happen. But maybe maybe Liverpool can finally get the better of a team that they play. Maybe finally Liverpool can create chances. I don't know, but it'll be very interesting as well if we do progress into the round of 16, or from the round of 16 into the quarterfinals. We'll be playing PSG because obviously PSG beat Chelsea 5-2 in the first leg and they're going to go through. Do you want to watch Liverpool get battered by PSG? Because there's like I know Liverpool had good performances against some big teams this season. Beat Inter Milan, kept a clean sheet. Real Madrid beat them, kept a clean sheet. Beat Aston Villa, kept a clean sheet. Kept clean sheets against Arsenal twice. There have been some decent performances in bigger games, but I do not want to see Liverpool try to. If Liverpool, put it this way, if Liverpool tried to press as they did against Spurs, against a team like PSG, Chelsea held five against them. I mean, we've seen Liverpool lose 5-2 against Real Madrid at Anfield. I wouldn't be surprised if it was worse than that because the team is the team is so disjointed and Liverpool recently been described as a low events team and we are that, but in Europe can you afford for Liverpool to be a low events team because Liverpool if they go behind, if they trail, do you trust that they'll be able to use their individual quality the way that Slot sets them up to get back into a tie? No. And that's the problem with Galatasaray. What happens if we rock up on Wednesday at Anfield and Slot tries to make it a low event game again, where there's hardly any chances, where there's not many transitions, where there's not much counter pressing? What happens when Salah's stuck to the touchline again? What happens when, because I think it's going to be Dominic Szoboszlai right back, what happens when Szoboszlai can't or won't provide the runs that, say, Jeremy Frimpong can? And even when Frimpong's been in the team, Frimpong's been making narrow inside runs instead of going onto the touchline and allowing Salah to move inside. So that's problematic this season, and I suspect it will be problematic against Galatasaray. But there's no excuse for not winning. There genuinely is no excuse for not winning. Kanate's fine. He rested Salah. He rested Ekitike. We've got Engamo to come on from the bench. Curtis Jones has been overlooked consistently since the Inter Milan rumours, but I want to see him in the team. He's deserving of a place in the team. Brian Gravenberch and Alex McAllister aren't. Maybe if we get a Dominic Szoboszlai free kick early on, maybe we'll score and maybe we'll win. But you know, if we go 1-0 up, do we drop back into a deeper block? If we go 1-0 up, do we continue applying pressure? Do we continue being as open? So many questions, so few answers. But Liverpool should still be getting through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. And like I said, I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for Liverpool. But don't hold me to that because I'm not very confident. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw Liverpool exit the Champions League on Wednesday. That was another Liverpool video that I made, and I know it was another negative one, but maybe you like negative videos, and maybe I can continue making videos that aren't exactly the most, you know, upbeat. But I do hope to be able to make some. I hope in my reaction to the Galatasaray game, I hope to be able to make a video that's a bit more, uplifting, but we'll see. And in the meantime, like I said before, in plenty of my other videos. A like and a subscribe would go a long way. We're on the road to 100. We have 46 at the moment. And again, like I said, there'll be more content, there'll be different content, and I hope that you will join me in this journey as I kind of figure this out. And yeah, but I have plans and it will be good and the content quality will keep going up and up. And I hope you'll join me. And like I said, if you'd like and subscribe, I'd very much appreciate that. So thank you for watching.